Hello, we're live. All right. Looks like the microphone is picking this up. I get the flashing red light. All right. Okay, so this is my website. And if you just were to punch in Schumann hyphen resonances.com, you will come up to this. It's set up as basically the home page. It's not the eventual end of the road homepage, but this was the one that was most done enough that would represent what I'm doing here coherently. So this is what we're on with. So this is basically a collection of meter readings, sensor readings. In order to get a really good handle of what's going on, you have to get all the sensory data from the machines. And so that's what this represents. I've wanted to have a website where I could kind of, warehouse and stockpile a bunch of links that are all loosely related. And so this is to this point, this is what I have. This bunch of stuff that I've gleaned from all over. And let me just say this: there's a growing network of us that have a core group of this stuff. Mr. MBB333 has a fairly comprehensive sky phenomena website that has a lot of the same stuff. And I have links in there to other websites that have a bunch more detailed information about certain stuff that I don't need to go into because they already have it. I'll give you the portal and you can go over there and fiddle what they have. It's all good. Like for example, spaceweatherlive.com, spaceweathernews.com, and spaceweather.com. Three different sites. They have different interesting perspectives on stuff, and they're kind of left to right in the order that I kind of go through them. And I have this all, to my view, logically laid out of how, from ascending order left to right, how the most amount of information that I get is, like I said, I'm going in order of access that I go to, logically arranged. All right, so it may or may not be logically arranged for you, but this is how I kind of access stuff as I'm, shooting through data. And it's the same thing. I will just show you this, the same thing on my website. That on my browser, I'm using Brave browser, so I have, the Schumann from disclosurenews.com, and then I have the one from Tomask, and then I have the Cumionia update, right? And then I have the Etna radio, and then I have the earthquake, right? Of course, we got to know what the earthquakes are doing. And then this right here is the solar diggy, and this is the Yellowstone. Right? What's Yellowstone doing? Boop, 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 boop. All right. So okay, so we have a little trouble there, and then all right, and so then I go into some other stuff there. All right. So all right, so I've done this before, and that's essentially that's the update. That's essentially it. I'm talking in part about the website. In part, I'm going to go into the readings of a few different sites, original sites that have important data that we look at. So I've already done the Schumann resonance update, so I'm not going to go into that. What we're looking at is I have Cumionia up here. All right, so I've done this before. Cumionia, we have a number of different channels here that are giving you different range of strength and intensity of signals. So this right here is the decibel meter, and it's giving you the color code of what you're looking at in here. Okay, hold on. Okay, so that's a little better there. Then, all right, good. That meets with my aesthetic eye. All right, so we love Renato Romero, just for the record. All right, so they're giving you the location first off. Well, just how to read this. All right. So system one, this is the electric field Marconi antenna. So they're showing you this is what their antenna is right there. There's a directional meter for the wind. Very important to mark the wind. All right. And so here's a fence we have which marks off their property, the edge of the property. All right. And you can see at the end of it, there's a stick that holds it up with some guy wires that help keep the end of this in place. And you got to remember that those can conduct an electrical current if you're not careful. It's a thing, you know. If the wires are metal, you can pick up a atmospheric charge from that. You got to remember, so it should be insulated right there, just for the record. All right. So I have gone here to this. I'm not going to do it now, but there's actually noise there you can listen to. There's something there, and a lot of this that they can kind of figure out, help you get that open. I got it to work with VLC. So with if you're hopefully not too technically, uh, incompetent, you could get it to work as well. I don't mean to, use incompetent as a, judgmental phrase, just a technical view of, if you're not good with computers, you may not be able to get it to work. But with some fiddling, I got the noise to come out of my VLC player. However, that said, this is a picture of me in the studio, so your results may vary anyway. Actually, hold on. All right, there we go. Yeah, that was what it was supposed to be. All right, there we go. So that's me in the studio. So, all right, I get a little technical expertise, um, but if or if you stick with it, you may likely be able to figure it out as well, right? There's and hey, maybe I can even help you with it. Okay, if I got it to work on my deal, maybe I'm technically proficient enough to be able to explain it to you how you can get it to work as well. I'm willing to work with you. It's very interesting. However, I'm not playing it. I may, and here, there's a forum, right? There's places people have. I've been there. I can get that sound to work. This one's interesting. I'm not going to go into this right now. All right. So, all right. So that's the location. That's where the antenna's at, the Comiania, the location, geo, you could find a Google map. All right. So we're just I'm giving you the, once over what we're looking at here. All right. VLF monitoring. Here below, the first live spectrogram updated 30 minutes. It shows the last 8 hours of VLF activity as received by Marconi antenna electric field. And we just showed you that's the Marconi antenna type. Now, that's the directional for the wind. Okay. Boop, boop. All right. So we're looking at, again, the colors. You look at the colors here. You match up the color code here with a number on the decibel meter. It's negative, again, negative, negative, negative. These are all very subtle energies. Got to remember that. So the blue, wherever the blue is, it's kind of on that range, well, relative to where I'm looking at. All right, it's at that range. As you start, the little flashes of red. Now it's in the low hertz, which is this down here. So the lower hertz is up to 105 on this. So this, you got to remember. The Schumann resonances essentially top out at 46, approximately, it's like 45.5 or something like that, 46 for rounding it up. Okay. So that's the end of the Schumann resonances that you got to measure up to. If you go up to 50, you're going to catch at the very end of that the commercial grid. So the commercial grid in a lot of places, not every place, but a lot of the places, figure worldwide, the commercial grid is at 50. You're also going to get one at 60. But worldwide, especially in Europe, you're going to get the 50 hertz line, which you see here, right? The red, this dealio, that's our 50 hertz notch from the power grid. And they explained to you there what it is. And they also explain the receiving station is placed not too far from an industrial area. Sometimes strong tones are detected by geophone sensor, which is the earth moving. So if they have big trucks, it'll, local interferences like that, industrial area. Got to remember that 1 kilometer far from here. All right. So we just are always cognizant of that fact that yet there's local machinery nearby, picks up something. All right. So, so the Schumann resonances properly happen below 50, and they have these are not dedicated Schumann resonance stations. A dedicated Schumann resonance station may cap at 30. I mentioned this as Japanese. I'm not sure about the Chinese, but I think it's a Japanese that we're talking about. Chinese, Japanese, whatever. Yeah, yes. Um, and these VLF/LF stations, where this area here is, they say VLF, but that term is very misleading because it's used in a lot of different applications. So this is VLF and LF, LF being low frequency. So the low frequency goes up to 30,000 hertz, I believe. In our case here, we're topping it off at 15,000. So let me just show you this one of these stations here. All right. Let me pause this. Okay, so I just want to mention this. I have, and amongst all this other stuff I have, this one is a really good site. Okay, so it is, let me see if I can, no, oop, there we go. All right, so this is, there we go. Tuck it right in there. All right, so this is VLF.IT. This is a clearinghouse for a lot of the stuff that I have on my website. And so, like I said, there's a number of websites that I'm just a conduit to that really have all the information. And if I've gone there, you should go there. Um, and so there's a lot of similar stuff together, but there's a lot of great information in there. So you can see 22 kilohertz is right there. The strange emissions at very low frequency. All right, so we mark in some cases the edge of VLF at 22 kilohertz. Kilohertz. Okay, so in these cases, the nomenclature, the terminology can be a little bit confusing, a little bit misleading, whatever. So that's why I'm kind of bringing this up and help navigate you through this because it's still a little bit, I mean, even to me, it's a little confusing because I don't know which scale that, if they use VLF or LF, I don't know. And so especially when we talk about earthquake prediction and the VLF, the VLF goes up to 22, you see 15,000, 15 kHz in the vertical conductivity channel. The horizontal conductivity channel, is hertz. That is a proper frequency. The amplitude is an intensity. It's a decibel. You saw the scale, the meter that went from black, dark blue, navy, with a little white, and then red. That's a decibel. I'm not sure if that's technically a VU meter, but we're calling it a decibel meter because it is measuring decibels. Okay. Um, so that was, I just wanted to show you the VLFIT, and that has, I don't have all of the stuff that's on there, but I have our VLF, LF, Seismo stations on, here they are, on the website. Okay. And so I'm not going to go into them all right now. I'm introducing, this as a coherent place. So I'm I want to read the, okay, we did that, read this. All right. So I was, go back to kind of where I was at. All right. So, um, so we talk about the Marconi antenna and the geophone. So one of the, let's see if we can, no, okay, there we go. Okay. So, we got to know what we're looking at here. Okay, so if you go to vlf.it, that's how I got sidetracked here. A day and a half ago. How I got sidetracked here is by showing you where they have a lot of information, great information on the VLF being capped at 22 kilohertz. You know, uh, in some cases, the Schumann resonances are called ULF, which is the lowest of the low, and in some cases, it's called VLF, depending on where it's used. Okay, so I'm just kind of giving a buffer to the language that we don't get held up on VLF so much, or maybe you haven't. I don't know. Maybe this is just a me thing. Okay. So, but there is, properly speaking, there's a range of signals that they're breaking this down into. They have a number of antennas, and they have different amplification units that they use to kind of dial in different uh, um, different ranges of signal. You know, there's a natural impedance of the antenna itself. The wire itself catches a certain impedance from the uh, impedance is to stop the signal. So it's a receiver, but it's got its own natural um, resistance to the wire as current moves through it. It's got a natural resistance to it of itself. So the natural resistance of the electrons to move along there is the impedance. The reluctance of the electrons to move of themselves is called an impedance. So the wire itself has a natural reluctance to move based on the amount of wire. Okay, so the impedance of the antenna is based on the amount of wire. So it has to be, you see, that's a big ass antenna. The lowest ranges we're talking about, 250,000 kilometers. The frequency number here in the Schumann resonances, hold on, let me show you this here. This is 8,000 kilometers, right? That's basically what this is. 8,000. That's what my guides have shown me. 8,000. It's 8 point, but that's not 8 kilometers. That's 8,000 kilometers. That's because these are really big, 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 big waves. And so you have to remember that they move quickly, but they're very big. They're very sizable. And these ones here, 25,000 kilometers. That's a sizable, very, very sizable wave. I'm trying to find a wave song. We're having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave, except it's not heat, it's electromagnetic. I don't know. Trying to come up with a song to go with the wave. Maybe you can put it in the comments if you can think of a wave song. All right, so back to here we go. We're back to Cumionia. So when you see these spikes here, it's important to know. Let me just say this. I'm going to soliloquize for a moment here. When you are looking at the graphs and the charts, okay. When you're looking at the graphs and the charts, it's important to get all the information. I have frequently, if not every single time I've been on here, said you got to get all the complete data, whatever that happens to be, to go with the whole sensor complex. Okay. And the sensor complex could be the dipole antenna, 2 induction coils, an amplifier unit, the processing. Right, that's a whole complex. That's kind of what I'm talking about. And you may happen to have a couple different antennas. The bigger complex, okay, depending on what you're going, um, I think it's really important for people, if you're interested in this, to read up on the Central Italian Electromagnetic Network, because these guys, if I'm not mistaken, these guys are part of the network that reports into the home base. All right. So fortunately for us, they're providing it as a public service, which is beautiful for them. I don't, I don't know if they necessarily have to, but they are. So or what their obligation, what their public trust is, that comes with them in their, their service of whatever they do. Different people have different obligations based on the people that supply the money, right? So I don't know who they're, I'm just, for the sake of this, I am alleging that they're part of the Central Italy Electromagnetic Network that pays for it to be maintained. All right, so yeah, I've given references to this before, and I will continue to give references to all this. Of more information. You need more information by the people who put this together, right? I'm not pulling this out of my honey hole to for clicks, for clicks and giggles. I'm not pulling this out of my money hole just for clicks and giggles. I'm presenting this because, I get off on finding out how this stuff actually works. And that's it. And that's why I only have a few, a couple thousand subscribers, not gazillions, because, I'm not giving you this. I'm taking you on the process of discovering. I don't give you any answers. Yeah, I give you a bunch of data and research. That's what I give you, in my rambling way. All right. So, Central Italy election. I have it's on my web page. Go over there and look it up. I'm not going to give you all the information. You can find it. If you go over there and look, you'll find it somewhere. All right. So seriously, so there's two channels, right? The Seismic Monitor. You're coming up with. Am I saying this? Hold on. Let me get myself out of the way. Boop. All right. There we go. All right, so you have the channel one is the Seismic Monitor. That's this dealio right here, okay? And for the record, these two are connected, all right? So this is the intensity of, right? The decibel is an intensity. It's the amplitude, the height, whatever, the height of it. Boop. All right. And so but this is. This is the seismic meter, which is measuring the Earth's movement. And this is the strength, the intensity of the Earth's movement. All right, you got to remember that. Seismo relates to the, seismographic, which is Earth. So they have if I'm not mistaken, they have a borehole or something like that. They have a seismic meter. I'm not sure. Don't get me. They may not have that, but this is a seismic meter. I don't know how isolated it is from the local environment, so I can't even guess on that. All right. So, but this right here is your decibel meter, and they're showing you that's the date here, the geophone, E-field. So when you get, I think I was going to say this, or I did, when you get these spikes of bursts of amplitude here, you got to look at the seismic event. The dedicated Schumann resonances don't have that because they're not measuring the magnetic field, right? They're not measuring the I'm sorry. Okay, coast clear. That was Aaron rollerblading up the stairs. He was visiting my neighbor. He was wearing headphones, so I couldn't talk to him. I don't know. It's like, he didn't ignore me. He was wearing headphones on his way. Like, all right, okay. Another time, perhaps. All right. Okay. So, onward and upward. So you got to check seismo. Seismo is basically the Earth movement, and that's what they're showing you here in this first channel, because you have to look. This is also giving you. This is not just These are hertz. What you're looking at, this dark line, okay, white line here, is a differentiation between the two channels. Okay, so you have, your 0 point here, and then your 0 point is actually here, right here. Okay, and then it goes up. It's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. All right, so the same scale here is right here. All right, you see this? This is decibels there. That's decibels there. And you're looking at this right here is hertz, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, up to 30 hertz. And this is the intensity scale, this decibel scale here. So this is trying to give you a three-dimensional type of grid. I think the grid is probably the best. It's that the spectrogram is trying to give you a three-dimensional look at a two-dimensional graph, right? It took its they have these things on axes. The one axis of the upright for the amplitude, and then another for the uh, the magnetics, right? So they have one going one way that measures one direction, another one going the other way that measures that direction, and then they composite them together to give you the spectrogram in different colors to represent a, a, a density component to it. That it compiles this image of the two of those interacting in such a way as you get these patterns. And based on the information, it gives you a way to kind of geographically maybe I don't know, whatever the kind of thing, but there's a certain density that comes with color that you can visualize and then logically reproduce in your head. I think that's the best way to put it. So the color graphs give you a chance to see something that you could only feel, or maybe you couldn't really feel it, but only in a certain way, right? So that's kind of what these are. So you see that, like I said, the Schumann resonances are below 50. All right, so right here, this is what interests us here in the 30 hertz band of the seismic, because this is the range of the Schumann resonances, right? You see there's that one right there. It's not 10, it's at 8, right? You see that? The seismo is picking up the 8, and then there's another one at 14, just barely kind of picking that up. But these are all the heavy activity we're looking at. We're not looking at the seismo for its ability to, well, we're not looking at the seismo for its ability to pick up the Schumann resonances. That's not what it's doing. That's not what it's there for. That's not its dealio. But it's interesting that you can, detect this hum around 8 hertz, and then there's another one at 5 hertz is really low. You couldn't even speak in 5 hertz. You can't even speak at 8 hertz. Your voice starts at 20 hertz. You have to remember that. There isn't a sound equivalent for 7.8 hertz. People do these the people do the binaural beats and get the difference of 8 hertz or 7.8, and it's like, oh, big fucking deal. Your head doesn't even recognize 8 hertz. Sound starts at 20 hertz, and that's no one can talk as low as 20 hertz. The average voice starts around 120 hertz. 100 if you have a 90 hertz voice, that's a fairly low speaking voice. And could you speak at 60 hertz? I don't think this is actually 60 hertz. I think this is 75 hertz. There you have it. Like, do you think your ear can recognize the difference in 7.8 or 8? The difference, you have two tones, and together in your head, it equals, so, allegedly equals that resonance tone of 7.8, but it's like, oh, honey child, don't make me pull the math card on you. Like, whatever, you believe what you want to believe. But practically speaking, it is what it is. Good on you. Cheers. All right, so, at least in my humble opinion, in my fairly, in my unsolicited, unasked for, fairly, worthless professional opinion, that's my humble view on that. My guides are giggling at that. All right, so 1 to 105 hertz. This is the one most of all that interests us. To tell you the truth, they show this spiky because they sex it up and make it all glamorized. But this is the one that we're looking at. We need to look at the 105 in the electric, the and the seismic. Honest to God. And they give you the parameters of a kilometer. Like, honest to goodness, these meter readings are only good up to a kilometer. They're not telling you worldwide. It's just a sample in their local area, and you have to judge whether or not these datas are affecting you. Don't use this as a cult to look at the chart to see how you should feel that day. That's Schumannism. That's what that is. Schumann. I don't mean to offend any Schumanists. You turn this into a religion. Uh, mm, it's a thing. It happens. Okay. Well, I'm a preacher. I am a legitimate preacher in the religion of Schumannism, whether I like it or not. A detractor. The Verde Arbusto non-orthodox version. Whoa, fuck. Really shut the door on that one up. Um, all right. So there's a the multi strip that you can see how it's been doing for the week. Burst in as a motherfucker. But the day, you got to look at the time of the day, okay? Look at the time of the day. The day, the day, the day, the day. Look at the time of the day. 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Oh, 6:01, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. All right, so that's their local time of 6 o'clock, okay? All right, it's 6 a.m. Indeed, 6 a.m. in the morning. See, nothing before that. The sun starts waking up. Oh, good golly. In the middle of the day, you get these amplitude spikes. Oh, go figure. The middle of the day. The sun's beating right in your teeth. You, you have a high amplitude, bursts of, yeah, of course. That's part of the DC circuit, the upper DC circuit coming, kind of tightening up. I use the analogy of drum heads. Uh, you know, I don't know a better example to use that, but if you can think of, a lot of people that you have experience with drums. Maybe not all the rest of the instruments. You might not be able to know what a bassoon is, or an oboe, or a piccolo, but most people know either the drums or the triangle or the cowbell. More cowbell. Uh, I got a disease, the only cure for which is more cowbell. Gosh darn it. So if you can picture the ionosphere being like a like different types of drum heads, size, shape, drum heads that'll give you different tones based on how high up you go. Right? There's a rototom and then this big bass drum. So the D layer of the atmosphere would be the like the big bass drum, the kettle drum, if you will. You get bass boom, 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 boom. And as the sun goes overhead, this is part of the whole principle of the diurnal variations, is that as the sun, your phi angle, goes over and is directly overhead, everything tightens up. The general is there, the commander is there, everything's ship shape, shining, everything's full blast on because the commander, the sun, right? Yeah, is right there, yes. But you also have to remember the varying drum layers are successively getting beaten by, right, as the sun shines on us, it's also tightening up. It is its own tightening mechanism. And so, however it's coming, you got to remember that it's causing a forcing down into the lower ranks of the atmosphere, right? And so the upper layers of the atmosphere are filtering out the higher stuff, and as you go down lower, it starts filtering out the lower stuff and breaking it down. And it kind of it doesn't it pancakes, but it also kind of breaks down like roots of a tree. If you've ever seen roots, it kind of also kind of goes down like that. It cascades, and it's part of what happens as well in this process. Is that as the ionosphere drops down, it's also kind of compressing and condensing what's here already. Okay, they refer to that as um, the vertical conductivity channel, the vertical conductivity conduit circuit. So that's part of what is happening. We're getting radiance from the sun. There's always stuff going on, but you have to look at the diurnal variations. It's when we start getting into, all right, what's important, we start getting into stuff that's here at the nighttime side. This is what's really interesting here. Okay, not so much the daytime, Captain Obvious. Okay, but what's not during the middle of the day sunshine. So you see here, this block here from 6 to 6 or 18, okay? And this is UTC time, by the way. These guys are kind to us and use UTC. Okay, so what's interesting me is this side to the left, I think we're on the left, and the side here to the right of this, okay? As we start getting into night, but lo and behold, do we have, oh, this was yesterday. I don't have the reading for yesterday. But there was indeed seismic activity that followed that. Okay, just for the record. All right. All right. So, all right. So once again, all right. So this is the multi-strip, and you can see the seismic, yeah, like it should pick up some seismic stuff here, and it didn't. All right. So theoretically, all right. So it's a question. I'm not making statements. We should be lining stuff up here in the seismic, and that's what this is for. It's not showing me. I'm not gonna, kind of figure that out. All right. So this is an interesting meter here. I don't look at it that much, but it's very colorful. I like it. That shows you, kind of or traces. I don't know. I want to figure out what that whole thing of the trace is. I don't know, but this is some interesting stuff. And then this is our mascot hen here. The beautiful background. This guy's, look at that. I love that mountain sunset. Spoiled hen, in my view. But these are the induction coils here at Renato Romero's Chateau VLF de la Comiania. So this is the ULF in the magnetic field. Okay, and so the coil. So we went from, I don't know, 2 days ago, whenever we started this, talking about the electric side of it. All right, we scroll down here, all the way down here, all the way down here. Okay, so now we're talking about the other side, the magnetics of it, which is an induction coil. All right, so you see it can be subject to local influences. I just want to know that. I love that picture. So this is what we're measuring. All right, so what we're looking at here basically is you got to line up the color with the direction. I'm calling this a directional. I'm not sure what. There's some scope, special name for it. I got to find out what the specific name for this meter here is. But you basically read this by lining up the color here on this. There's a direction. This is north on the top, south on the bottom, west is to the left, east to the right. And then you have these right here, the red and the green, the pretty colors. right? They're all gorgeous colors. And the blue here, you see the waves coming in this certain way here, based on a certain pattern. Over here on the right-hand side, this is hertz, going from 0 to 35, right? Almost at last, the fifth Schumann resonance. The last one is 46. There's 33, then there's one 39, and then 46 is the last one. So 33 hertz here. This is magnetic. Okay. And then you have down here, I want to point this out. You got to see this. This is the range from 0 to 4. All right. This is the magnetic from 0 to 4. I'll read you what it says. Says spectrum scale magnetic components of the spectrogram below with long range average curve, that's red, and last waterfall line. Frequency spectrum 0.1 to 35 hertz with a sensitivity of 1 picotesla at 1 hertz. Here with a 30 hertz low pass filter turned on. Okay? So they have a filter, they tell you they get a filter turned on here, 30 hertz. There should be a filter there, all right? FFT, and what FFT means is basically, it's math involved in this, right? Just there's equations involved in this. That's what that means, all right? FFT basically means the lowest and the highest, right? Highest and lowest, whichever. And T is transition between, guess what? That's right, the two of them. All right, so based on that resolution, there's math involved. 10, that's a comma, 10.5 megahertz. All right, so somewhere between the high and the low, whatever. Scroll time 40 seconds. So it's scrolling on. It's basically, that's your sample rate is 40 seconds. Scroll time, it's like boom, every 40 seconds, moves on. You can see. So that's what these demarcations are. Why these actually look like pencil spikes is because it's a scan. These are 40-second, scroll. It's basically what that means. It's moving through at 40 seconds intervals. Each one of these sections represents 40 seconds. That's another way to put it. Schumann resonances are not always visible. Okay. When not covered by local noise coming from 380 kilovolt high power line. 380 kilovolt high power line. So when I talk to people about, where to place an antenna or stuff like that, how to plan this in, you got to do some measurements in your local area of what's, you take an EMF meter and you find out what's in your that local area for the planned or the proposed antenna, right? Really super important that you know before you get into that, even picking an area, what its ambient EMF signature is. And so that's what they're telling you here, coming from, this local noise coming from a high power line. And that is, high tension, high voltage, right? 380 kilovolt. That is also the cars passing 25 meters away from the sensor. Oh, that is a thing. Leave their trace in the area around 10 hertz. The coil is simply connected to the line input of a Realtek 97, right, audio card, which is actually a fairly old one, if I remember correctly. You can get an updated, like I'm sure you can get software, whatever, that's updated. Picture updated every 30 minutes. So this picture online is updated every 30 minutes. The spectrogram part below, 0.1 to 4 hertz, is good for the PC1 detection. PC being the computer. Sure. Another representation from the same system. So they're giving you, this is the multi-view. The colors aren't pretty. I gotta hand it to it, but you gotta know they're not freely floating in space. This is not an optical sensor here. This is an antenna that's picking up and visible. They're magnetic waves as they bounce around And that's the direction. You got to remember that the color lines up with the direction. Okay. It's not a Persian rug, just for the record. And these are, the images are trippy, but you also have to, if you can kind of picture this as a way of looking at it moving, right? You just have to kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like those, if you, I don't know if they're out, where they're out so much, the magic eye, I think they call them. But if you look at it, it looks like a random image. But then as you focus, you can start seeing a dimension in there. There's another pattern, right? So that's sort of what you have to do is kind of get the image in your mind's eye of what the directional color is, and then kind of vision it, kind of just focus in on certain color sets and the direction. You can kind of start outlaying a landscape of how it's moving. Right? And so this is a different type of spectrogram that's much different than the one at Tomsk, but this is the magnetic side of it and not the amplitude. Right? This is a different chart. All right, so this is the real-time lightning meter. All right, so it's not lightninging at the current moment. All right, but that's little spark there. See red, the color, that color red. They matched up with that, so that's giving you. I think that's telling you the quantity of lightning, or I'm not sure if it's the quantity or the intensity of it. I can't really read what that is. But you see there's something there locally going on that's fairly close to where they're showing you Kumyania is. Right. And I have a link to the real-time lightning meter on the website. All right. So that was that's Kumyania, and that's showing you how to read kind of some of this stuff. All right. So Etna, all right. You see Etna's way down at the other end. That's just a little different induction coil. And this video is kind of run on a little bit longer than I wanted, so I'm going to just kind of take you through some of, just gonna kind of not really read too much of it. This is a different location. They're reading different information, but I'm just giving you a familiarity of Etna, which is the other side of the country in Italy, and what's happening. And so this is one of those ones. All right, temporary offline. This is the geophone sensor. You see how active it is, and Etna has been having a lot of volcanic activity over there recently. So if you're interested in Etna, I have this on the website. Earthquake. All right, so we'll look an update. All right, so there's not much going on there in that part of the world where they're measuring it. All right, and you see over here, generally speaking, I'm trying to show you where the heck is Kazakhstan, Ukraine. All right, okay, all right. So here we go. All right, so this area, generally speaking, here, the Ukraine, this area is generally where Tomsk is. All right. If we look here, I don't know Russian in any way, shape, or form, so I don't know where we're at. But if we could find the Tomsk River, Tomsk. But you see, the point is there's not really earthquakes. Boop, boop. Right. But in this general area here. Okay. Boop. All right. So all right. This is what's going on. This big one agrees. Boop, boop, boop. Magnitude 3.6. All right. Ooh, that's a big one. 15 hours ago, 5.0. All right. They're reporting them in China. That's very nice. Oh my, what a tangle here. Of course. All right. Actually, hold on. I'm showing these, and I'm actually not showing you them. I'm showing them to myself. All right. So there we go. There we go. I'm just gonna mouse over these so you can see myself. All right. 4.4, 3.8, 3.3. These are all fairly recent, 7 hours ago, or maybe not, 15 hours ago. Oh, 23 minutes ago. All right. 4.8, 18 miles. All right, they're giving us in miles. Kilometer. Three nine, 3.8. You know, we remember that the USGS kind of downgrades some of these, and you know we're not always getting the best information. All right, but anyway, so we're both Kumyania and uh, Tomsk are somewhat clear of earthquakes. All right, something we gotta check. All right, so the sky weather here, the boom. Who's that? Mercury. This is Mercury right here. Bam! Direct hit for Mercury. Um, Bam! Direct hit for His Lord Grace Mercury. So when there's a Mercury, you know, yeah, some of you don't believe in Mercury retrograde. Do that as your own peril. When you look at this, boom! If you follow the stars and you know planets and all of that, and you follow Mercury upgrade, be on the aware of Mercury being a little bit funny. Well, Mercury's the communications good fellow, and if he's getting whacked, you may be getting whacked. Make sure you have all your data backed up, right? Send messages of love; those get through. You know, look at that's a direct hit. Boom. You know, that was not a glancing blow. This is a direct hit onto Mercury. Boom. Or will be. All right. And Venus, the green one out here, gets a little bit on the side, just the side of it as well. So, um, just I don't know the exact effect on it, but you know, I just am giving you a heads up, just to be aware of it. A lot of the people that follow, you know, this on the science side of it don't, you know, they're not astrologers, whatever. They don't care. It doesn't matter. However, you know, like you got to look at this from the perspective of the solar system as a whole, and it's all changing. Okay, we're all changing. So Mercury gets hit, we're left with the results of it, you know, so send Lord Grace Mercury some love and kindness because it just took a direct hit. Satellite or whatever. And, you know, Venus, and all right, so she might shrug it off. It's, you know, a little ways away, but you know, all right, it's a dealio. All right, so online activity monitoring, point of no return has been reached. All right, so let's see if we got can get a Yellowstone report here. And for the record, Mary Greeley does the best. I should put a link to her website. She does the best reporting on Yellowstone ever, and earthquakes in general, but Yellowstone. And so, you know, I'm kind of putting a plug in for her, Mary Greeley News on YouTube channel. But also, you know, so we're doing this to ourselves. So this is the last 2 hours. These are recent, all right. So last 2 days. So we got an orange 2.4 within the last 4 days. So they're showing you the size, relative size of it. Boop, boop, boop. Now, there's a bunch there. There's a bunch here. Wow. It's a lot. That's a lot. 2, 1. These are fairly sizable. 2, 3. 2, 4. All right. You got to remember something. All right, volcano. Let me give you a little primer to the seismic. Volcano and seismic and this kind of thing. That when we're talking about tectonic plates, right? If you were at, say, the fault out in Hayward you buzz off, or the other one out there, the bigger one, don't say its name, or one of the other ones. If you're at the fault and you start seeing a 2.2, 2.3, it's just letting off some steam. Okay, just so you know. At a tectonic, the middle of the country, they turn it to Swiss cheese. You find a 2-3 there, and it's just releasing off stress or steam. If we're talking about a plate, like a 2-3 is, in inconsequential. I don't want to say that, but relatively not worth talking about. The expression we have here where I'm living right now, not even worth talking about. Right? It's not even worth talking about. Well, that, yeah, it could, but not even worth talking about that. The brakes don't work. Yeah, well, the e-brake works. Not even worth talking about it, man. Do you want the truck or not? Like that's kind of part of how the sales pitch is. Not even worth talking about. So if you're on, true enough. All right, lots of other stuff to worry about. If you're on the one of the faults that's ready to go out there, a 2.3 is just letting off steam. That's not necessarily something to be concerned about. It's fine enough. However, when you're here, as in a different matter, a seismically different area, when you're out here in the middle of a caldera of a supervolcano, that's a much different kind of thing. When what they explain is that in the magma fields, lava area, like so they're having earthquakes up there in Iceland, and in a line, and eventually where the line was, they knew was going to break, so they followed the line, and sure enough, they had fissures out there that are still, popping a month and a half later. Okay. So you see the line, you follow the line. All right. So in the middle of a caldera, in a volcanic field, what they say is your kind of take it serious point is a 3.0 or higher. So it's not, it's seismic activity because what happens is as the magma is moving underground in pre-established channels that are clogged, right? It's now making way. It's moving stuff through. It's moving stuff out of the way, knocking old boulders loose, this type of thing. Heating, it's going behind it, a lot of pressure that's heating up the stone, and then eventually it's enough pressure and heat gets heated up the stone that it becomes fairly liquid, and then it knocks loose. It's interesting to watch how lava on the surface moves, and you can get a sense of how it will move under the ground. They have lava channels. You can see that there's old lava, and it forces its way through the channels. It'll find a way through, or it's going to, So when we start talking about quakes at 2.3, what's this big one here? Oh, 3.5. Oh, that one should be reported because that's a big one. These are some bigger ones here. 3.5. Wow. 2.4. That's not big. That's a big one. 3.9. Holy fuck. With all these other ones. Look at this. All right, bam. All these here. There's a bunch of them. Buttload of them. All right. So, oh, there we go. Ah, my little scroller thing works. Very nice. So that's just that area there. All this in here. Look at that. Ba-blam! Oh my. Oh, nice. What's this? It's even worse than I thought. Wow. Nice. But that's all. This is literally, this is all Yellowstone in there. It may not necessarily all be the park, but that's all Yellowstone. That's the caldera. All right. That's it getting ready to rip at some point soon. Fairly soon. I mean, it's stuff's happening. I don't want to scare you on it. Like, all right, what else we got? Oh, okay. You don't want to read about that. All right, okay. All right. So this will be in the future. Where am I? Hold on. Write my note. There we are. All right. Okay. So, all right. So I'm gonna kind of close on this. Um, where where does Tomsk publish? Where do you get information from the Tomsk? You could watch him speak. right? And this is here. I want to show you this. I'm going to do a video on this, whole more of this. I've talked about it before. I can continue talking about it, but about the information, the Schumann resonances information made public. Where is the information? Where do you find it? Okay, well, here it is. You have to go to international symposiums of atmospheric and ocean optics and atmospheric physics. They pay these guys to speak, right? So these two guys here, the lecturers, this is one of the few, very few document reports that I've gotten from Tomsk, people from Tomsk, and it's not even from Tomsk itself. It's from a symposium in somewhere. I don't even know where the symposium was, but it's a pretty, a trade conference, I would call this. That's I've been to a few in the audio electronics and that kind of stuff. They're fascinating kind of things, but not like this. This is, they're not trying to sell. I'm pretty sure they're not trying to sell you atmospheric electronic equipment at these kind of things. This is all professional dealio. So I have this on the back burner. I want to get to it at some point. This is more information from Tomsk. It's way over my head. I don't know. You may get something out of it. But it's got a fun color graph, and it's just information from the people from Tomsk. I think it's important to see what are they talking about. This one happens to be 2017. All right. All right. So with that said, all right. Here's the website. All right. So I've gone through everything important, kind of, and I have gone. I'm now into like an hour of this video, and I think I'm going to end it because I have. Oh, there we go. Put the website in there. There you go. All right. So yeah, so it's time. I've done a great video. This was a long video. As other people would do the space weather update. This is the sensor readings. Ultimately, if we're watching what's happening, we're just meter readers. Like that's kind of how I look at this. If you want to know how the Schumann resonances and all this stuff works, you got to be a meter reader. And it's part of what I'm kind of helping people is how to read the meters of these things. Like it's just if you're here, it's because you want to know how to technically learn how to properly read the meters, or at least get a bearing on how to better read the meters. And I've gotten a lot of comments from people who have thanked me for presenting them with information that they needed to kind of tie things up. And there's a lot of information there that I have that I'm willing to offer to people. Just simply that, like you have to be willing to read a little bit into this stuff, or not into it, but you got to be able to willing to read, to do some reading. It's just I don't know how to better to put it than that. Then you have to. There's work involved in learning the meter readings, and I'm willing to help people and work through it and learn the best that one can. But there's a lot of I have 30 years background in radio electronics and all of this and how to read meters and all of this stuff. So I'm willing to help people, but you on the other end, on your end, you have to be willing to do some back reading to get kind of caught up to a coherent level on the subject, right? And so here's a lot of information that I'm proposing to you. No cost, it's free. You can donate if you want to, but all of this is pretty much free. It's out there on the internet. I haven't paid for any of this. All of this here is free. All this is free. And in some cases, if there was a subscription to get the information, whatever, I paid the subscription fee. I'm not asking for anything in return. I want to have a good dialogue on this. This is one of the last things I've left to do here, is to present this in a good, excellent way for you to understand, right? And so that's the main reason why I did the website. So it's all here, a lot of information here that you can use, and hopefully you'll find to be user friendly. Okay. So all right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this as a premiere. It's long enough that I could have a great conversation with people, I guess. And I guess we will talk to you soon. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a live stream. I may. I don't know. At the end of the premiere, I'll see where I'm at. It's like 1:15 in the morning right now, and I don't think I'm talking too loudly, but there is people upstairs, and I think they're trying to sleep. I'm pretty sure they are trying to sleep. So I don't know if my talking would keep them awake or whatever. I don't know. So, but I'm definitely gonna do the premiere. I think I already posted one video, and so I think the premiere is a great idea. All right. Anyway, so onward and upward. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the comments, the love, the support, everything. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. Email this link to random people on your contacts list. Just one person, and tell that person to send it on to someone else too. So anyway, on that happy, cheery, wonderful note, thank you all for being here. Much love. I appreciate everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.